Coming up in today's Leeds news, the door is open on January plans. Leeds set to confirm Morrall. Leeds won't wait until the last minute. And Buffon criticises Leeds for great player sale. Hey folks, welcome to the Leeds View. Jer here with your news on Friday the 19th of December, the last news video of the week before we get ready for Leeds game on Saturday against Crystal Palace. We will have the watch along over on bigup.com. If you're into that, you can come over and join us. It's free to join. There's no ads. It'd be nice to see everybody over there as well. And we will have the instant match reaction on YouTube straight after the game this weekend. And also, just to point out, Crystal Palace played the kids last night in the UEFA Conference League, so they will be going up against Leeds with a full strength squad. Also, just to bring your attention to, again, the Paris 75 documentary is coming to Dublin. Tickets are on sale. Link is down below. And the Salonika 73 30-minute documentary is premiering tonight at 7 p.m. over on the Paris 75 YouTube channel. I'll link that below. And if you want to give Harvey your support over there by watching that, which will then hopefully allow him to put the Paris 75 documentary in full over on YouTube shortly. So if you can check that out, that would be great. We'll start off today. And it's a pretty January transfer heavy news today, not necessarily on players, but on strategy. And we'll start off with the door being open for plans this winter. Daniel Farke would rather, though, wait until January to discuss the January transfer plans, but said enough again to indicate that he would like some upgrades in some positions across his side. Farke spoke about wanting physicality and speed from any player who comes into the squad in January. And in the later part of the press conference, when asked about Joel Pirou's future at the club, as much as saying he was a great finisher, he did point out that he probably lacks the physicality and speed at times in the Premier League, which has led to questions about potentially upgrading that specific position. Loan options also came up during the conversations yesterday in the press conference, but Farke seemed less interested in those, pointing to the fact of a lack of game time and taking longer for those types of players that would be available to get up to speed in the Premier League, which means that leaves the door open for permanent signings, and that would again also likely need sales to facilitate that. And as much as Farke said he would like to keep Joe Pirou at the club, he also didn't rule out selling any player in order to upgrade a position and give him a different profile, as he would like different options in positions. Farke said that there were no indications of the current group of players looking to leave the club. He said everyone's happy and content in and around the place, and says that the club will need to be ready if a suitable target becomes available. And on signings in January, Farke said this: if we find an addition to our group where we think, okay, it makes our group better and it's affordable, you have to be open for it and you have to be ready for it. So for that, you have to be prepared. Each week, Daniel Farke, he's kind of given little nuggets of information and indications that he would like to add to the Leeds United squad, and he's never going to go on the record publicly and say that any player can leave or he doesn't have a player as part of his plans. But you do get the vibe that he would like better options in certain positions, and that's every manager in the Premier League. But as much as I personally would love to see Joel Pirou given a chance in that front too, you get the impression that he's pretty far down the pecking order if Noah Okafor, who's a natural left winger, is starting ahead of him, and likely Lucas Mecha, when he's available, will also be ahead of Joel Pirou. And survival and getting the best options for Leeds in this January window will be incredibly important for the side. Pirou is said to have some level of interest from the Championship, and during the summer months there was said to be lots of interest from the Netherlands in him, and it'll be interesting to see if those interested parties are still floating around and keen to bring him in. Elia is the other likely player to potentially go in January, and you could expect maybe one more fringe player and a couple of loan exits for the younger players who probably need to go out and get some minutes as well. Harry Gray being an example of that, if he is not going to get first team minutes. But we'll move on. And we'll talk about a young player that does look like he's about to come to Leeds. And we had the news earlier this week on Leeds moving to sign Liverpool and Ireland winger Kai Morrall, with hopes that they would get him in for January. But now we have an update with his arrival at Thorpe Arch said to be any day. Now, according to the Yorkshire Evening Post, they state that the 15-year-old wide man has come to a mutual agreement with Leeds United for a transfer from Liverpool and could be signing for the club any day now. Leeds were expecting to pay some form of compensation as part of this deal, but according to the report from the YEP, there won't be any compensation needed. So that's another plus from Leeds from a financial perspective. Morrall said his goodbyes on his Instagram account to Liverpool and is said to be looking forward to the next chapter in his career. Morrall is a highly rated winger by Leeds United and by the Irish youth system as well, and is seen as a promising talent for the future. And we'll see what side he ends up going into for Leeds. Leeds have a tendency to put the better young players ahead of their age group in order to give them these stretch goals that we spoke to Michael Scubala about a couple of years ago on the channel. And it'll be interesting to see, does he go into the 16s, 17s, or does he go straight into the under 18s, or even on the fringes of the under 21s, as some of the 18-year-olds have done in the past couple of months. So it's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Let's move on and talk about Yorkshire Evening Post's take on January transfer window business. The Yorkshire Evening Post, Graham Smith, has been discussing Leeds' upcoming January plans, and he believes Leeds won't wait until the last minute to get their business done. In previous transfer windows, summers and winters, Leeds have left quite a lot of their business till the very end of a transfer window. And a couple of summers ago, they were very bullish, on the brink of bragging, when they managed to get Manor Solomon in at the very last minute. But this summer, that strategy saw them finish up missing out on Facundo Buenanote and Harry Wilson and other players, if reports are to be believed. And they left Daniel Farkas shy of the two additional players that he wanted as part of his squad. And speaking on the Inside Elland Road podcast, YEP's chief football writer Smith said that he has faith in the Leeds higher-ups to get the business done early this summer, and believes the right processes are in place at the top end of the club. And on this topic, Smith said the following: "I have every faith in the Underwood, Evans, Farke axis that they are going to deliver in a timely fashion in January, and they're not going to leave it till the last minute, so I have work to do. It won't be on the 31st because the 31st is a Saturday, and that's the Arsenal game. They don't tend to have it on the day of a game, so it'll probably be on Monday, won't it? Even still, don't leave it till then. Have it done by the 15th, the 17th, push it as far as the 19th if you absolutely have to." The January transfer window this year opens as normal on the 1st of January, but closes on Monday the 2nd of February at 7 p.m. And we will obviously have a final hour or 2 hour watch along on the channel, as we tend to do with every single transfer window. But Smith is echoing the sentiments of most Leeds United fans at this point. Don't hang around, don't waste time, don't sacrifice games in January. Get what you need to get done early, and then just tell us you're done nice and early. We can all move on with our Januaries and not have to wait until the deadline day to see if we're going to do any more business. The recruitment team need to finish the jigsaw after leaving several pieces on the table of Daniel Farke's puzzle in the summer, and they will hopefully be able to have a positive end to this window and give Leeds United fans and the side every single possibility of a positive second half of the season, and the hope even of an additional season in the Premier League next season, where we can hopefully build on the work of this year. But it's not an easy window. It won't be straightforward. It never is. The January transfer window is a pain for most clubs, and it does always benefit the selling club more so than the buying club. As they say, anyone who's trying to buy players in January obviously didn't get their business done in the summer, and we know Leeds didn't get all of their business done in the summer, so they'll need to get moving quickly and hopefully just get the one or two they need in, tell us they're done, let's all move on with the season. We'll move on though and talk about the final story today and some criticism for Leeds over a player sale. It's not often you hear the names Gianluigi Buffon and Leeds United in the same sentence, but the legendary shot stopper has criticised Leeds for selling what he believes is a great player. It's fairly soft criticism, if we're being completely honest about it, but he has had questions as to why Leeds would sell Elia Caprile when they did. The former Leeds United under-23 goalkeeper left Leeds back in 2022, and at that point he signed for Serie B side Bari. Now 24, Elia Caprile is a Serie A goalkeeper with Cagliari after having some time at Napoli being the goalkeeper. Still a very sought after shot stopper, and recently got a call up to the Italian national side. Buffon was speaking with Sports Illustrated on Caprile, and he said the following: "We have Donnarumma, Merritt and Caprile. They are truly great goalkeepers of a high calibre, a very high level, who are all playing in the Champions League. Well, 3 or 4 of them do. Caprile, let's wait until next year. He might too be playing in the Champions League." Buffon said that he was surprised that Leeds United sold Caprile when they did, seeing the trajectory that the player has been on since he left Leeds. He's moved around a couple of clubs, but he has been, since moving to Bari, linked with a hell of a lot of top sides, and Leeds may regret letting him go when they did. But at that time, Leeds were very invested in the future of Ilan Meslier, and they weren't to know what was going to happen over the next 2 years. As they say, development is not a linear path, and sometimes the ones you think aren't going to make the cut end up making the cut, and the ones you think will make the cut, unfortunately, can fall down the pecking order. And Caprile could even make the Italian side for the upcoming Summer World Cup if things continue to go the way that it's going. But being called a great player by a player of the calibre, and especially a goalkeeper of the calibre of Gianluigi Buffon, is incredibly high praise, and it might be one that we look back on in a couple of years' time and go, it's a shame we let him go. But you never to know at that point. These decisions happen. As they say, these things in football do happen. But it is one that you'll scratch the back of your head on a couple of times when you see what he's going to do in the future. He is definitely going the right way. 24 years of age, same age as Ilan Meslier, but definitely on a different trajectory to Ilan Meslier at this point in his career. Although if Meslier gets the move, you never know. He might start to show the potential that he once showed at Leeds United. But folks, that will be it for me today. You can check out the podcast last night with myself, Oscar Marriott from All Leeds TV, and Dara Cunningham from Leeds. That and a little bit of a bonus episode. We looked at the January window as well as the Crystal Palace game coming up. You can check that out on the channel. And don't forget, Salonika 73 debuts on the Paris 75 YouTube channel tonight at 7 p.m. Definitely going to be worth checking out. Outside that, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you over on bigup.com for the watch along on Saturday, and back on YouTube for the instant match reaction later on in the evening. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend. I'll talk to you soon. See you. Bye.